Right, we move on to Div 3. And it is none less than a stacked lineup. I'm looking at it right now. It looks insane. What a battle we're going to have ahead of us. But we're going to start with the World Constructors Championship in Div 3. I have gone for, a little bit biased, Ferrari. I think that, me and Baze is going to cook. I'm really looking forward to it. I think Baze is a very capable driver, makes very little mistakes. I make occasional mistakes, but generally I'm all right. I think that I'm confident with us too that we'll come through and get a big result. Not much mistake.
Well, you both made crucial mistakes in Austria, in KRL last season, but apart from that, both very consistent drivers. I have gone for a slightly different path. Shock horror, I haven't picked Ferrari for Oldham, don't worry.
For the one that I'm in, matched Ferrari too. If you know what, go on. I want to hear it. Go on. Hit me with it.
Romeo. I've gone for Alfa Romeo.
Hey, nah, I won't even hear that. Pink, get out. You're not watching this anymore. What? Oh, Lord.
I think. No, obviously, I also think that Ferrari are going to win everything. I want to just put that out there. Of course, I think that. I'm the team principal. It's my team. They're my boys. I think we're going to win everything. Taking that away from it, I think Pink and Matteo are a mean lineup. I really do. Matteo last season in KRL was cooking towards the end of the season 4. He was really on the rise. He was putting himself up there on the podiums, fighting for wins. I feel like if he continues that momentum in the upward trajectory, similar to how you mentioned before, we've gone to the moon. I think he's going to be a similar driver, just in a division lower. And I think Pink's Pink. I think he's annoying. He's relentless. He's always up there. He's sticking his nose in places he shouldn't be sticking his nose, but he's always scoring points. And I think they're going to be. I think you mentioned how Div 1 for Alfa Romeo is going to be particularly high up there. I think Div 3 is going to be a real source of points for Alfa Romeo too. I think Alfa are going to do quite well this season. I really do. I think they've got a few good driver lineups. I think their Div 3 is going to be real fruitful for them. I'm looking forward to see what them two can do.
I've never raced Matteo. I have to give respect to Pink. He's a pain in the arse to drive against. He's good. He's very similar to my style, my driving, my pace, my everything. He's just always there. Anything I do, he does it as well. So that's why we ended up racing all the time 2 seasons ago. And I'm not the hugest fan not being his teammate anymore. But I don't have to deal with him again. But fair enough. I won't accept them beating me, but okay, fine. We're gonna move on to.
You're the driver for me, so I'm glad to hear that you're not accepting that.
Yeah. We're going to move on to the top 3 in the driver's standings. For P3, I've gone. I have to give respect. I don't know if I like doing it, but I have to do it. I think that P3 is going to go to AlphaTauri's Matt. I think he's got pace. I think he's got more pace hidden in there than I think people give on. I think he's good on his day, and I think he's going to score big points for AlphaTauri. I think he's one of the highest point scorers for AlphaTauri, I think, actually. And I think he'll do well. I think he'll get P3.
See, interesting you've gone for Matt. Very interesting you've gone for Matt, because I've gone for someone who is very close to Matt. Matt quite a lot. I think Mr. Dylan, who was just recently joined, I think he's going to sneak the P3. Because if you look at the time they spent together at AlphaTauri in KRL, quite often it was Dylan was the lead driver and Matt was more. I don't want to call him second driver because I feel like there's certain connotations maybe with that, but it was more the ship was being steered more by Dylan whenever him and Matt shared a Atari seat together. I think Dylan's got a good. Obviously he's in the Red Bull now. I think there's not a better teammate. There's not a better team principal on the grid other than myself than Banjo. Had to put that wee plug in there. Have to constantly push myself. But I think if anyone's a level T principal with myself, is going to be Banjo. Banjo's an incredible team principal. I think he's going to give Dylan the direction that he needed, that he maybe didn't get, because obviously back in the time when Dylan was last racing, he was a team principal. I think Dylan taking on a driver role, I think having guidance from someone like Banjo, I just think that he's really going to come out of his shell this season, more so like he has done in other seasons. I think he's going to be pushing that top 3.
Fair enough. For P2, I have gone for me. I've got myself P2. I think I'll be up
Bottling
there.
another championship.
I am the championship bottler. I have come P3 twice now. It's getting long. Hopefully I'll improve it to a P2. Or maybe a P1. But I've gone myself for a P2. I think that I'm capable. I think I'm fast. I think my Wi-Fi sucks. I think I get taken out a lot. And that probably, the common denominator, I'm sure, occasionally will be me. So that'll be something I need to look at. But yeah, I just think things go wrong. I mean, it's hard for myself because I'm overlooking my last season as I got taken out a lot. My Wi-Fi was bad, and I made a handful of mistakes that just kind of put the cherry on the cake. But I think as a driver, I think I'm good enough for P2. I think I'll get a handful of wins. I think I'll get a good amount of podiums or do bits for Ferrari. But yeah, I think I have to be real with myself. I think I'll get a P2.
It's interesting you've done that because I've also put yourself down as P2 is on my predictions. I think you're going to improve from the last 2 seasons. I think you're capable of winning it, but if I was to give honest, unbiased, no filter predictions, I feel like you're going to sneak into the P2 spot, and you're going to fall just short of the driver I put in P1.
P1, it's going to be my good friend Millard. That's what I've put. I think that's who you put as well.
It is.
He's a monster on this day. He really is.
He is, and his pace has been grown as exponentially recently. Yeah. He's really been just rising. Yeah, I think Miller's is going to be up there again. I think he's going to really challenge for it. His main challenger last season being Cristello's obviously moved up because her availability wasn't available for Division 3 anymore, so she's gone up to D2. I feel like taking Cristello out of that fight shoots the Division Championship down a little bit in terms of how spicy and interesting it's going to be, but I feel like Millard having cleared Div 4 in KRL last season, I feel like he's going to do enough for Div 3 in XRS. I think he's going to sneak it.
Okay. As
annoying as that is to say, I think he's going to sneak it.
I think I'll have to give him respect. I mean, he's a good friend of mine in this whole league racing thing, and I'll enjoy racing against him up at the front. I will. We'll move on to the best driver pairing. And I've gone for... I'm not going to give myself P1 in the standings, but I'm going to give myself this. I think that me and Baze will be the best teammates. I think that we've just got a good history of being with teammates. I mean, obviously, he's been with Clutch, with Boldy, with Big B. He's always seemed to work very well with his teammates. I've been with Nick and Pink, and we've always seemed to work well. And a team at the caliber of Ferrari, what Ferrari are aiming for, which is, of course, P1 and winning things, there won't be room for any mischief. There won't be room for any stupid sense, and that's not really how I see me and Baze going anyway. Even if we were left on our own with our own guards, I don't think we would be irrational enough to try that. I think that me and Baze will just work well together, push ourselves forward, push ourselves to be better, and I think it'll work. So I've gone for Ferrari.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. However, to avoid looking biased, I have gone for a slightly different.
You didn't want to go biased for this tier. You could have not been biased for another tier, but you had to pick mine.
Well, I Div 1 is myself, so you always have to back yourself, and Div 2 I think Div 2's arguably our strongest one. So yeah, that's the reasoning behind why I've done XYZ. But yeah, for best pairing,
yeah,
I think I'm going to go for the Alpha Boys. I've gone for Pink and Matteo. I think they're going to work well together. I know how good of a teammate Pink is when he needs to be. I know how easily he is to throw how quickly he is to throw himself on the fire if he needs to be. He will derail his race for the benefit of his teammates should he need be to do that. Yeah, I have full faith in Pink to be the perfect teammate for Matteo to really push them both up, and I feel like they're just going to feed off each other. I feel like they're going to really feed off each other, and I think Dodo will keep them both in check.
Yeah, I think so too. For the biggest teammate rivalry, though, not as smiley as the previous award, I have gone for the Alpine boys. I've gone for Boldy and Zimonex. I mean, Boldy's name for a little while in the league was Boldy the Bottler. I mean, he is I think both of them are prone to a couple of clumsy mistakes. I think they're both good on their day. They both have really shined, and they've both been up there at the front before. They've both had very good results. I think they're prone to a couple of clumsy mistakes, and I'm worried that one of them, especially recent, I think one of them, if it lands on the wrong driver, especially when Boldy is TP, it's going to cost a team that is in a really heated battle in the midfield with Williams and with Haas and with Aston Martin, it's going to cost them points. It's going to cost them a lot of valuable points. And it's not like Simon X, because Simon X, for example, used to be tier 2 in KRL. He's got very good experience being up at the front with some really quick boys. It would be upsetting to see him throw away some good points. But I'm going to say Alpine boys. What about you?
Interesting. I've gone for the Red Bull boys. I think Tavish and Dylan are not going to concede to each other at any point in the season.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I know how both drivers are in terms of how they think in a race, how their mentalities go. Neither are bad. Neither of them have bad mentalities or bad attitudes, but I feel like both are going to be neither same as what I said with the Aston Martin boys in Division 1. Neither of them are going to want to be the one to back down. Neither of them are going to want to sell themselves to the second driver position. Neither of them, and the thing is, I don't even imagine there'll be, even early in the season, if they find each other beside each other on track, I don't imagine that either of them are going to want to swap positions, because I don't think either of them want to even kind of set down a precedent of I could be a second driver. If Dylan or Tavish are in front of each other, I don't think either's going to be wanting to pull over for the other driver, because they're going to be thinking, even if it's round 2, I don't want to be seen as a second driver at any point in this season, because when it comes down to the business end and we maybe both our championships are up for the grabs, I don't want the team principal thinking, oh well, I was such a good second driver early in the season that I can do it again now. So I feel like from round 1 they're going to be at each other's necks. I think they're a real what Nick was supposed to be to Yuki coming into AlphaTauri in real life. Where Yuki was supposed to go from a teammate who was very much his friend in Gasly to Nick who's out to get him. I think Tavish and Dylan both need to watch over their shoulders inside their own team in Div 3.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. That's spicy. We're going to move on finally to the final division, but not final in terms of action, because I'm very excited to see the Thursday division. It's Division 4, and for the Constructors' Championship, I have got to back my boy. Got to back my boys. I'm going to say McLaren are going to win the Constructors' Champion. I think that Liam is improving exponentially. I think with the we did a couple bits and pieces together. I think that alongside Millard, alongside very capable drivers like Nick and Lewis, I think Liam is going to continue that improving state. His main issue obviously was that consistency, that kind of seeing a dangerous move and thinking this is the way to go. I mean, my only DNF I've had 2 DNFs. One was my fault. The other one was Liam. You know, there's only 2 in any ever in league racing. So he's obviously maybe he's bad. You know, he's infamous for making a silly move, but he's getting better. And he's now got the experience of being at the front of Tier 5 because he was fighting up with the Ferrari boys. I think now he'll bring that onto the new division. I think he'll do well. Blake, on the other hand, is learning wheel. Once he gets a handle of that, he's going to bring back the pace that he had at the last season, which wasn't much short of me. You know, so I can't see why. Yeah, it might be a slow burner for him, but that's how it would be for anyone when you're changing such a big input, such a big style of driving. Once he gets a handle on that, I think he's going to be a monster. That's my thoughts.
I've gone for the exact same. McLaren for the exact same reasons. I think Liam's quick enough to be a bit of a flagship driver in that division, and I feel like Blake is just gonna steadily and exponentially get better and better through the season as he gets more and more comfortable. I think by round 4, round 5, he'll be as comfortable as he was on a controller, and I think he's then going to start finding the actual pace benefits of being on a wheel and really finding those extra inches, extra precision. I think they're going to be a real problem in Div 4.
Yeah. Right, we're going to move on to the Drivers' Championship in Div 4, and for P3, I've gone for the Romanian. It is Vlad. He's a champion. He's a champion in KRL, and that's nothing short of very strong. You need consistency. You don't win a title by accident, no matter what division it is. He's pushed himself and he's become faster. I raced him. He was in Tier 3 the season before, so I know what he can do. And I knew what he did there, and he spun me. So I can see the improvements he's made. We're now teammates in TRC, and I've seen what he's doing in Ferrari as well. Whatever he does, it's going to be very strong. It's going to be very quick, and I think he's going to make P3.
Interesting. I've got one for maybe that people won't expect.
Oh, okay.
I've gone for Lucky Ducky in P3.
That is interesting. Yeah.
I think winning on her debut in the same track that her sister won her first race. It's clearly in the blood. It's in the blood.
And we've got Singapore back as well, right at the end.
Yeah, and Singapore's on our calendar. I think her bigger sister, for those who don't know, Cristela, obviously was very nearly clinched the Tier 4 championship last season in KRL.
Yeah.
Her sister came in for Singapore and won it straight away, and won it convincingly enough for her to be receiving conspiracy theorists saying that it was in fact Cristela posing as someone else, posing as a little sister.
It's interesting,
that's
isn't
the
it?
kind of performance she did.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting that
So,
both of their first wins were at the same track. The first time they ever did them for a league race, same track. It's
in
interesting.
similar fashion as well. In similar fashion.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, no, I feel like she's gonna. If judging how Cristela went from her Singapore win into the next season, I think Lackey's gonna take the same momentum. It's just in the blood. It's in the blood. I think she's gonna be P3.
Okay, lovely. For P2, I have backed my very good friend, who I think is nothing short of just improving everywhere. I've gone Tucker Daniel. This is very dependent on whether he goes on a wheel. If he goes on a wheel, scrap that, get him out. If he says a controller, I mean, I obviously, it's slightly biased because I've known him before this. We used to race on F1 21. He didn't get 22, but we raced him on 21. He was quicker than me. And obviously, you know, it's obviously a different game, different handling. But the pace is there. It's capable for him to go as fast as me. And that is, I'm not saying that I'm some like kind of worldly, like this is the aim target stuff. But, you know, there's so much improvement that can be found. And Dan's always improving. I'm really excited to see what he can do in this whole new team. I think he's going to beat Vlad. I do. I think now with the stuff he's learned from Ferrari, because he was brand new to league racing back when he started at the start of last season, I think he's going to beat Vlad. I think he's going to do really well. I think he's going to be really close to the title. I think he's going to get P2.
Interesting. I've gone for another interesting one.
Oh my!
I don't think people are going to predict. I've gone Jamie for second place, the Alfa Romeo driver.
Ooh.
Okay. I think Jamie's got a lot of uncooked potential coming up. I remember I highlight particularly his battle with Bays in Austria in KRL season 4. He was there the entire time. He kept up with Bays the entire time. He pushed Bays. I was engineering Bays that race. He pushed Bays to mistakes. He was there constantly. He held Bays back from making progress. He was just a thorn in the side of both myself and Bays. I think Jamie's going to really find his own feet in a division like Div 4. I think he's going to really push up there a bit more, and I really trust that he'll be a strong candidate.
That's interesting. Very crazy one as well, bringing in Alfa Romeo. For the winner and the first champion of Div 4, I have gone for Liam. I think that Liam, bringing the pace in, I have to rate my boy. I think he's getting quicker and quicker. I can't wait to see what he can do. I think he's going to be an absolute monster. I can't wait.
While I respect the Liam shout, I do respect it. I respect it also because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And you're going to say Liam. I'm going to go for my boy Vlad to win it.
Fair enough.
So he's going to defend his championship last season. I know what he can do. I know how much he's a cooker. He's coming. He's head chef in this mofo, and he's gonna cook up a great season. I would just back him to shall we say, I don't want to say defend his KRL title, but he's gonna defend his championship streak, shall we say, and get another one on the board straight after his KRL one.
Very nice. Very fair enough. Next up is the best driver pairing. Nice and comfy, good teamwork. My choice has gone very much from. It's very much based on the team as well, because it's going to have a good surrounding, a good foundation to, like I said before, almost not allow them to crash into each other. I've gone for Vlad and Dan. I think that they've now got the experience of being teammates in the second half of last season in KRL. They worked very well together. They proved to everyone that they were very strong in the tier. They've now got more of a challenge because we've added some extra names and extra challenges to the tier, but I can't see why that would slow them down. I think that Ferrari will have the best driver pairing there.
Yeah, I put the same. I know my boys. I know they work well together. I really think they're just gonna work well together. And as you said, the TP's not gonna let them. crashing into each other.
Yeah.
You best believe that's not going to be a case. I just think that they've got a decent relationship as well.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be. I feel like if they're both on the same page, reading from the same page sheet, it's going to be a great season from the both of them, and they're really going to help each other out of places.
Yeah. And finally, for the biggest teammate rivalry in Div 4, I'll let you go first this one actually, because I'm interested to see what you put.
I've actually gone for the Mercedes. I've gone for Seasick and Lackey.
I've gone for the same thing. I've gone for
You've
that
gone
as
for the
well.
same one?
I have.
I don't imagine Lackey on a debut season is going to be wanting to move out the way and not. And if she's anything like Christella, if that fruit does not fall far from that tree, there's not a chance in hell that she's going to be a second driver. And I don't think C6. I think C6 in the same position. I don't think he's going to want to be. He's been lead driver in that division or that tier in KRL and that division this season. He's been that lead driver for Mercedes consistently in the bottom division. There's no way he's going to want this new driver to come in on her rookie season and then just take the top spot from him in the team. He's going to be stubborn with it. He's going to be stubborn with it. And I think that it's going to cause some rifts, especially around the mid-season, once Lackey's really found her feet. And the confidence, if she hasn't already got it in spades after her Singapore win. I think come mid-season she should be doing really well. And I think that she's going to have the confidence to really kind of start imposing herself a bit more on the team. And I don't think Ceesay is going to receive that imposing very well.
Yeah, I've gone for very similar arguments. I think that obviously in this kind of KRL chain of leagues and stuff, this is C6's third season in Mercedes. He's been the first driver in every single one of those seasons, and I can't imagine he's going to want to drop that spot. He was leading the Tier 4 Drivers' Championship, Tier 5, Drivers' Championship for a good while actually last season. He was up there with the Ferraris, he was up there with Liam when he came into the tier. He's not going to want to drop that, even with a new teammate. Lockie, on the other hand, exactly how you said, her sister Christella, she's an aggressive girl. She does not like to back down from a challenge. She likes to really stick her nose in places, and now she's out of the way. This is very much because I've seen the competition between those two. When Lucky joined the league, the competition started between those two. She's not going to want to back down from getting a title before her sister, and the way she drove in Singapore was very telling of that. She's almost more aggressive than her sister. She's very brave to stick her nose in to take the bigger fights, fight with the bigger fish, and like you said, it's her first season. Her only league race she's ever done was a win, so that in her mind now, giving her confidence, whatever track she is put ahead of her, I think she's going to give it everything. I can't imagine moving out of the way for her teammate is one of those things.
Yeah, completely agree.